All right. Hello, everybody. Getting everything all set up. We will get crafty in just a second. All right. Make sure I got my stamp set ready to go. Ooh, it's not this packaging. That's not Justin. Ah, there we go. If you are stopping by, drop a quick comment just to say hello so that I know that you're here. And we will get into crafting very, very soon. Very, very, very soon. Let's see. I need to even bring this out a little further. Oh no. My iPad is driving me a little bonkers because my memory has run out and it keeps giving me a prompt every couple minutes, but I don't need to see the prompt. But what do I know? Let's see. Now, there we go. Hello, Patsy. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. I almost said Monday. Thank gosh it's not Monday, let me tell you. All right. All right, well, I hope everyone is having a fantastic Wednesday. Of course, welcome. It is my first live of September. I can't believe that we're kind of wrapping up. When I say wrapping up 2025, we have a lot of 2025 to go. But to me, this is always the part of 2025 that I feel like really starts to steamroll to the end of the year. I always feel like once the kids start going back to school, end of August, early September, there's just a lot of consecutive events that happen. All of a sudden, you know, it's the holidays, and that's just the beginning of what's going to be 2026. So happy to be in September. Happy that, for me personally, starting to put summer a little bit behind us. I was out of town a couple weeks ago. I was out for 10 days. So I'm still kind of playing catch up a little bit at home, but it's nice to get back into the swing of things, including a Facebook Live today. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be coloring up the main hero from the Unstoppable Hero stamp set, which was part of, I believe it was the July release. So we're going to color him up. I've also got a couple of the graphic sentiments stamped out as well. We're going to use these for the cards. I'm going to talk about these when we get to them. I'm going to have a little bit of extra fussy cuttings I didn't plan far enough in advance, but that is a-okay. So let's get into some crafting. Let's see. And we're always going to start with my Copic markers. And whenever we're coloring up a skin tone, I start with E04. So we're gonna go in. Now I did pre-stamp out my image in some Copic Safe ink. This is Blackout ink by Ink on 3, which has been my go-to for quite some time. And I did stamp it out on Copic Express It paper. I have found that it just works really well for me. So I'm gonna go in with my E04. Anywhere that there's skin exposed, anywhere that there would be a shadow, that is where my E04 goes. Just kind of going around the hairline, his ears, and then we'll do under there as well. He, I believe, has his hands exposed. I don't think he wears gloves. So we're gonna color those up. All right. And then I also am gonna get his nose, and then on the side of his chin. So I think that's important. All right, next we're gonna go in with some E11. Also, talking about being out of town, I did come back with a little bit of a cold. Luckily, I feel pretty good. My body just works that whenever I develop any sort of congestion, I fight off a cough for a little bit. So I do have cough drops at the ready. So you might hear my voice get a little grovelly, we'll go with grovelly. And you also may hear me just cough a little bit. I've got a cough drop in to try and help, but just with me talking, I have my water, I've got everything I need, I am A-okay. just giving a little forewarning. So going in, getting this all colored, just like that. See, a little bit of a cough. Going with some E21 next. Now, when I color with a Copic Safe ink, I have been getting in the habit of using a heat gun to set the ink, because the last thing you want is to spend all your time coloring up an image, and then you've layered your colors, you're happy with how things are turning out, and then all of a sudden you hit an area of ink with your marker and it just sort of smears, and nobody wants that. So I like to hit it with a heat gun just to help make it set, reduce the likelihood of that happening. It's never 100% guarantee, but it definitely helps reduce the likelihood of any sort of smearing. So something to keep in mind. Some people also, I know, like to have their image set out for a little bit of time, sometimes stamp it out the night before, color it the next day. That can work too. I give those people a lot of credit because I am not that patient. And who's to say in the morning that my expectations and wants of what I want to craft won't change? So, hey, you do you. This is E004, which I'm going in as my last color for my skin complexion. So, all right, now we're gonna go in and we are going to repeat colors. I always talk about this. This is totally optional. I like to do a method that I like to call coloring twice. This helps get the saturation really going for my images. So that just means that for most areas of my coloring, I will actually go from dark to light twice, just to get those colors really going, make sure things blend nicely into each other. So that's what we're gonna do. One of my main tips and tricks for how I like to color and how my images turn out the way that they do. So while we're coloring him up with his skin complexion, because we don't really have to go into detail over a lot of this because we talked about it already, I wanted to talk about a couple Kindred events going on, or things that I think are worthwhile. All Kindred things are worthwhile, but there are some immediate things that I think that are helpful to know. The first is I did post a calendar early in the month, and if you noticed on there, our release week is actually about a week earlier than what it normally is. Usually we do our releases on the last Friday of the month, at least that's what it's been in the past. But this month, we're doing it on the second to last Friday of the month. So release week is actually going to start next Sunday, this Sunday coming up. So that'll be great. I know that there's some fantastic sets that are coming out. So definitely keep your eyes and ears on the fan club for any sort of updates. In addition, Audra did officially announce on Monday, and this tickets did go live today, our first ever Orlando retreat is coming your way next February. And this is really, really exciting. And I know spaces are limited. As far as I know, I believe we're already at least 50% capacity. So, and Audra just posted the tickets today to place a deposit. But Kindred Stamps is heading to Orlando, and we got a hotel in the Disney Springs area. And it's a really, really cool hotel. We were kind of looking at our wish list of places that we really, really like to go. And Audra and I were talking, and we thought that the Drury Lane or Drury Suites would be a really cool location because of their offerings. And we are very excited that we were able to secure that for the event. But so it's 3 days of fun coming your way. Check-in is going to be on a Friday, February 20th. And it's just going to kind of be like a meet and greet sort of day, getting our tables ready, getting our crafting on if there's anything that we want to work on, meeting other Kindred stampers. But then Saturday is actually going to be a full-blown retreat day. If you've been to one of our crops in the past, you will know that usually we'll do some make and takes, but it's a lot of like kind of choose your own adventure. And it's just sort of like a fun socializing time. But we're actually coming to you on that Saturday, and we're going to do a full-blown retreat day where you're going to make multiple projects. There is going to be exclusive Kindred Stamps product given out to attendees. And we're very excited about what we've come up with for that. And we will create some fun projects with them. Of course, yours truly will be creating, and I believe Audra will be as well. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then on Sunday, which is the last day of the retreat, we're going to have some make and take options available for you. If you want to finish up any of your projects that maybe you weren't able fully to complete from Saturday. And then lastly, people staying at the hotel that we're staying at, we actually have access to some special theme park tickets. So we're doing a Kindred meetup in one of the parks. We're really, really excited about that because that's been on Audra's wish list for a really, really long time. And so we're excited to finally be able to do something to bring that to life. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I know Orlando is kind of the number one theme park destination that I would argue in the world. And it's a location that you would be able to extend your time at. Or if you were having family that was interested in going as well, they could even have, and every family is different. I don't know how I feel if my family wanted to go out and do theme park stuff while I was not with them, but we're going to be having some fun too. And it's definitely a trip that I could see family wanting to tag along with, even if they weren't going to be attending the retreat. So there's definitely some options there. We do have a room block that's going to be available for you to book for the retreat. That's got some really awesome options as well. So all will be revealed now. We've got all the details. Hello, Nora. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'm glad you're going to catch me doing some coloring. But it's a really, really big deal. And I know if I'm sounding like not enthused, it's because I'm multitasking and trying to color, but Audra and I have been working on this for weeks and weeks now. And we're really, really excited that we've finally been able to announce it and offer it. And we love any opportunity that we're able to get together with our Kindred stampers and have some fun. So next what we're going to do is we're going to go into the hair. He's got black hair, so I'm going to use some T8. And I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do this. We're going to go like that. And let's see. Go down the side. So yeah, I understand for some people travel might not be your thing when it comes to retreats, and sometimes we've got to stay close to home. But if travel might be your thing, we would love to see you. We'd love to have some crafty fun in, one of the most magical places on earth, for sure. And I know my husband's going to come meet me because I think we're going to extend and do a couple park days as well. I'm actually really excited because the last day of the retreat is his birthday. So, and that's the day that I believe that we're doing our meetup. So he's going to have some fun birthday memories, I think. All right, let's see. All right, next let's go in with some T6. But if you are interested in booking to come with us on the retreat, we do have the deposit spots available now for you to reserve your spot. The total for the retreat, and I apologize, it's either $295 or $299. I think it's $299. Let's go with that since it's the more expensive of the two. I'd rather tell you it's the more expensive than happy accident you find out it's a couple dollars cheaper. But if you're interested, you can head on over to the website and make a $100 deposit. There's a special listing for the deposit that'll reserve your spot, and then the final balance will be due at a later date. And yeah, I think that'll be great. Gives you a little option to plan in advance, not have to make a bulk purchase all at once. That's always helpful. But yeah, we would absolutely love to see as many people as we possibly can. We've got our regulars that come to a lot of our Kindred get-togethers, and I'm sure we'll see some of them at this event, but it's always fun to see them, but it's also really fun to meet some new faces and see the new faces, make some fun new friends, and it's a good time. It's a really, really good time, and I cannot wait to head to Orlando and see y'all. All right, so we're going with some T2. Perfect. Now we'll just repeat these colors. So we're going with some T4. And then T6. And then finish this with some T8, and I can already see I'm going to need to correct a little bit of this as well with some gel pen. That's okay. All right. Wonderful. All right, his hair should be pretty good to go. And let's go in, let's start coloring up his suit. So he has a blue suit. So I'm gonna start coloring that up. This is B18. And let's go in with some B16 next. I'll tell you guys, so I don't know where you're at. So I'm in the Chicagoland suburbs out here in Illinois. And I've been so grateful, but we're supposed to have a little bit of a warm up. But I've been so grateful because the weather has been kind of like early pre-fall weather. Last week, oh my gosh, it was like in the 60s all week. I was so happy. But we are supposed to get a little bit of a warm up that I'm not thrilled about, but we will take it. But it has been sleep with your windows open weather. And so when I went out of town, we went to Japan for 9 nights, 10 days. And I had such an amazing time. It was my first time ever in Asia. We saw a lot of, I mean, everything we saw was essentially brand new. Every single thing. It was me and my husband, and then one of my good friends from college and her sister came with. And we had a fantastic time. I will say though, and I was warned, it was incredibly hot. Incredibly hot. I am talking daily, about 95 degrees and 100% humidity. So it was like sweating nonstop, sweat through all my clothes. Luckily, our first hotel that we had in-room washer dryer. And that was, I tell you, one of the most magical sorts of amenities that I never knew I needed before. And it actually changed our whole sort of trajectory of the trip, because usually when I travel for more than like 3-4 nights, I take my big suitcase that has to be checked. But because it was going to be so hot and we kind of figured that we weren't going to need layers, we decided that because we had a washer dryer in our room on the first part of our trip, that we could kind of justify beginning the trip with a carry-on, which was super convenient on the way there. I was very happy. We didn't have to deal with any sort of grabbing our bags or whatnot once we landed in Tokyo. And I have so little, no regrets at all, honestly, about that. It worked really nicely for us. We did end up checking our bags on the way home, just because we figured it was included and we might as well, and we were heading home. So if our bags got lost or anything, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Luckily, nothing did get lost. Also, we were going to have to check our bags anyways, because at least one of them, because we brought with a collapsible duffel bag that we knew we were going to be coming back with a lot of merch, souvenirs and whatnot. We were shopping for friends and family. And we knew that we were going to have to bring at least one extra bag for that. And I'm so glad we did. We ended up fully filling this collapsible duffel bag. I don't think we've ever gone on vacation and brought so much home that we had purchased. It was really funny because out in Japan, like, we didn't know what we were going to find to come with. And we always try to find something kind of cool for the house. And we got a couple, like, we got a little statue that we got for one of our shelves, which we thought was really neat. But there was a lot of just like stuffed animals at a lot of the places that we went. And that's not really our vibe, but we wanted to get something. So we came back with like a handful of stuffed animals, which is not really our vibe. But what was nice about those is stuffed animals don't really take a lot of room up. So that was very nice. So we're going to go in with some R29. We're going to work on his cape, his boots, his, I don't want to say his underwear because it's on the outside, but he does have kind of like a red Speedo of sorts. So we're going to go in with this. It's funny how this is like how everything begins to come together. So yeah, it was really nice to get away. I disconnected a little bit more than I had anticipated. I brought with my laptop. I was like, you know what? Like, I'll schedule my crafting post while I'm out there. And I just kind of get in the habit of that. I bring with my laptop for any sort of, if a work thing comes up, just to kind of hop in and help. But also if I've got to schedule any sort of craft things or anybody needs a photo sent to them, I don't have to make them 100% wait for me to get home. But for whatever reason this time, I just didn't need to do as much. And I kind of allowed myself to just kind of disconnect a little bit more. Let's see. I also bought a eSIM, which is so I had data access on my cell phone, which was a unique experience. Never done that before. It was a little bit of a headache to get set up because you have to have your phone unlocked. And most places right now in the US, if you're making a monthly payment on your phone and you are still paying it off, you are not unlocked. And so my phone, of course, was monthly payments with it. So I had to call Verizon, and luckily I was able to get my phone unlocked. But then my husband also has Verizon, and he had issues with it, and the lady said it wasn't possible, and we're on like 2 different accounts, so, and they're set up differently, so that was fun. But he was able to get it situated for himself. Lots of fun. It was really fun to head out of town for a little bit, see a new country, immerse yourself, and then come back and talk about it a lot. I talked so much about it, and I'm not getting tired of it at all. Not at all. All right, let's color this up again. And then he's just got his belt afterwards, which is easy peasy. Just kind of repeating those colors, getting that saturation going. Look at his belt next. I don't know the last time I did a superhero. I don't know if I've ever done a superhero live. I know I've done a villain. I did the plant villain from the, I forget what the stamp set's called, but it's all the baddies from, it's one of his friends, their universe, the most like iconic villains. But there was the plant lady. We colored her up. I ended up using paper from, oh my gosh, is it called the Enchanted Rose paper pack? Which I think is still in stock, but there was like a black and red rose print, and it works so nicely with the plant lady. So. All right. Finish him up with his belt. His belt is, I believe it's yellow. So we're going with some E35, Y19, Y15, and then Y11. E35. Y19. Y15. And Y11. All right. Got that. So he's all taken care of. I do want to do a little bit of coloring for these letters. But before we work on that, I do want to go in, just sort of clean him up a little bit with a white gel pen. He doesn't have too much that stands out, so that's wonderful. Anything else I'm missing? No? All right. So what I want to do with the letters is I just kind of want to color the bottom, but I want to talk about what I did off camera getting ready for this live. So for these sentiments, the boom and the pow, which are going to be my 2 sentiments I'm using, I stamped these out in a colored pigment ink, and then I went ahead and heat embossed them with our clear embossing powder. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because I'm coloring these, and pigment inks are not generally Copic marker or alcohol marker safe. So when you use an embossing powder with them to kind of lock them into place, it protects against any sort of bleeding that would happen because you're combining the pigment ink with the alcohol marker ink. So I just kind of wanted to do a little bit of shadowing. So we're gonna go in with some C3. Just kind of add that in. Just to give this a little extra pop. So that's C3. Then we're gonna do some C1. I probably should have stuck with dark blue ink. I thought my red pigment ink was a little bit darker than it was, but that's okay. I don't really own a lot of pigment inks. I'm mostly a dye ink household over here, but I had a couple. I've got a black, I've got a gray, I've got a blue, I've got a red. And so I'm like, let's put the red and let's put the blue to work. And then do some C00 just to kind of blend it out. Just kind of like that. Okay, perfect. And that just adds a nice little shadow to these letters. So yay. All right, so we're gonna put all of my markers away, and then we've got a little bit of fussy cutting to do. So let's just check comments. All right, we are good. I'm gonna take some water. And we've got a little bit of ink blending to get into, but we'll be good. All right, so let's work on cutting these out. Now this will take a little bit more time just because we're cutting out 3 things as opposed to my usual 1. I did think about running these through a scan and cut in advance, and clearly it didn't happen, but I kind of thought time-wise we'd be okay. Plus, when I do my fussy cutting, it gives me a chance to talk with y'all a little bit more because it's like one of the few things I feel decently confident at multitasking with. So yeah, so there we'll take it. Ugh. You also might hear my husband come in eventually. He's working a little late today, had to go into some of his stores and heading home from the city now, and he knows I'm in the middle of a live, but we'll be good. Oh, thank you so much, Patsy. You're so sweet. What I kind of love about his color palette is, of course, it works when you do the classic colors like I did, but you can kind of customize him to be a lot of different color palettes that work nicely. Like, I was thinking that instead of blue, you could go green and he'd be perfect for like a Christmas card. Or if you had like a Santa hat that you could possibly add to him, that would really help as well. Or like for Halloween, you could go with any combination of orange, green, purple, or black. Or color him up like a candy corn. Get fun with it. You know, you don't have to always color things traditionally. I know I do a lot for my projects, but the reason I do it mostly is it's the first thing I think of, and I know I've been trying my hardest. I'm not perfect with it, but I've really been trying to give my Copic marker combinations whenever I color up an image, because I think it's really helpful as a resource when you know what colors I pulled from. Hello, Christian. Happy Wednesday to you. I just like to provide that, and so I feel like using the traditional colors is what's most helpful right off the gate. But usually when I do a Facebook Live, if it's like the first time I'm doing samples with a set, usually I go the traditional route. If it's something though that I've worked with before, I kind of like going the non-traditional route, maybe some new colors, just because it gives me like a fresh idea to work with. I was actually really happy about what I came up with for today's live, because honestly, so I always plan my lives about 24 hours in advance. And I mean, don't get me wrong, if I come up with an idea further out than that and it still sticks, I'll still do it. But usually 24 hours in advance is when I have like 100% committed my mind into what I want to be doing, what stamp set we're going to be doing, what sort of like, not lessons, but what sort of skills or techniques we're going to demo. So usually I lock everything in by then. So I was thinking about this yesterday. The idea kind of came to me kind of quick, which is always nice. Because there are times that I will be racking my brain for a Facebook Live idea. And like, I'm just throwing everything out the window. I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like that. But this stuck kind of quick. So I like that. One thing though, and I was kind of stressed because I wanted to incorporate pattern paper into this. And I initially couldn't find a pattern paper that I liked to go with my idea. But then I did a little bit of digging. And of course, y'all know that I always try to pick things that are currently in stock. And I was able to come up with an in-stock paper idea that I am very happy with. All right. All right, so we're gonna go in. I also, when I was planning today's live, I always kind of remember to take a look at past design team samples to admire them, but also I don't want to accidentally fully recreate something that someone else has already done, because I don't ever want it to seem like, oh, Justin's just like copying somebody else's idea, and I would never want to do that to anybody, let alone one of our design team members. So I always like to just kind of go through and be like, okay, like we're in the same, like we're okay for the most part, like, but you know how like sometimes you think you've got this like fantastic idea, and it's like subconsciously though you've actually like filed away the fact that you've seen this somewhere else, and now for whatever reason you just think it's your own idea. That happens to me, and so I always just kind of like to double check myself, make sure I'm not accidentally copying someone. But also too, I'm not against doing like a recreation Facebook Live and like making sure to get permission from the original designer for it, and then also like mentioning it during my Facebook Live as well, just where the idea came from and whatnot. That's always something that could happen too. You never know. A little bit more touch up, like in a couple areas that I haven't touched up with gel pen. But so as I was going through design team examples, I saw that at least one person, maybe more, used the pop-up card die for like to make the little pop-up box, and I just think that is so perfect for this card. I love that he's flying. I think it adds a little layer of whimsy. I also love when you incorporate a little bit of acetate if you were going to do a pop-up card, because you could have the acetate like holding him mid-air. So that's super fun. Be sure to check out the product listing of this Unstoppable Hero set for all the fun inspiration that the design team came up with when the set was released. All right, let's do a little bit more touch-up. Just a wee little bit. All right, we'll let this dry. Put this off to the side. Oh boy. Okay, so I've got that. Now I do realize I forgot to grab one thing. So I'm grabbing out some of my scrap paper. And I was gonna see if I could find some pale yellow scrap paper. Oh, now I'm realizing I don't have, there's pale yellow. I don't have my glue out either, so I have to go get that. Where's my glue? Oh, it is out. Okay, so I want to walk you through a little bit of my thoughts as to what I want to do. So for my pattern paper, I'm grabbing the Vigilante Justice set. And in all honesty, most of these patterns, I don't really think work with this guy very well. This is kind of aimed more at the night flying rodent hero in his realm. But I saw this pattern, and it kind of matches the little sentiments that we've cut out. So I went ahead and cut this down into 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And it's gonna work really nicely with this guy. And we're gonna create a little bit of a partial scene. We're going to do a little bit of ink blending, and we're gonna get this into place just to kind of create like a partial sky of sorts, have him fly. And then I have the cityscape die as well that we're gonna use just to kind of make a little bit of a scene for the card. So I think, oh, you know what though? Would it be good like that instead? No, not like that. I agree, Christian. I 100% agree. All right, so we're gonna keep that on the bottom. He's gonna be up here. Yeah, this is all coming together. So let's get our little city together. So I went ahead and I die cut the cityscape die from gray cardstock, like a dark gray cardstock. And we're gonna do just a little bit of ink blending. I've got some black soot ink. Oh, and that's what I forgot was a craft towel. So what we're gonna do with the black soot, I'm using my ergonomic blending brush, which I've been using a lot lately. And I'm just gonna distress the bottom of this panel. Just add a little bit of variance of color, get an ombre going. I love to use colored inks and distressing the edges of colored cardstock. I think it's kind of a really fun hack because it gives the illusion of like an ombre and you're just using one ink color. So here we have it. We've got everything really nicely with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my blending brush away. I've got to grab a craft towel really quickly. And I'm also quickly realizing that I don't have scissors out. I do kind of need those. Let's get those situated. I'm gonna set that off to the side, do a little bit of cleanup. All right, just like that. Now, I wanted to tell you guys of a little bit of a hack that I have when it comes to our cityscape die. Before we get into it, I'm gonna take a real brief water break. I'm also going to replenish my cough drop situation. But we'll get into my hack in a second. Okay, so one thing that I love about this die cut is I love that there are windows. My only thing though with windows is I don't want my windows to be see-through like ever. I want them to sort of have their own coloring of sorts. I want them to be either like blue or white, or in this case, yellow. So what I am gonna do is I am actually going to grab a paper trimmer and I am gonna start working with some strips of paper. I'm gonna kind of measure this out the best that I can. And I am going to start working on layering these. So, let's see. Like for example, I can put this one right there. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna grab my glue. Yeah. Go. buddy. Why does this happen? I need to like always test my glue out before I go to use it. Because sometimes it just does not want to come out right away. I was actually worried when I got back from vacation with my glue press that I was going to have issues with it not working because I had used it for so many days. And I was very, very pleased that it actually started to work like right away. And of course, I do a Facebook Live, and it's like the first time since I've been back where it's like, no, Justin, not working. So anyways, oh my goodness, why is this not coming? No, I am so sorry. Trying off camera to get this to go. Do you have another glue pen on my desk that I can try using? I'm just wondering if, I'm almost out of this. That's probably why. Okay, let's pivot for a second. I'm gonna see if this is gonna work. This glue pen on my desk. This is from scrapbook.com. Let's see how this works. This actually may come in very handy. All right, so we're going to go in and just snip. Perfect. Okay, now let's see, will it work for this as well? Yes, it will. So I'm just gonna go in. You gotta give it a little bit of a squeeze, that's what it is. Actually, this works really nicely when it's not clogged. Let's go in. All right, we're getting there. Sorry about the delay, y'all. Stuff happens. You gotta just kind of pivot with it. All right, let's do it right here. All right, perfect. So let's cut another strip. And we're just gonna kind of work on putting the backing for each of these. Let's see. This is gonna be big enough. Hope it is. Yes. Just gonna kind of go in. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix my precision glue press. Not thrilled that it wasn't working for this live, but that's okay. It's gonna work for here. It looks like it. This is kind of like, this little glue pen is kind of like the unsung hero of this live. Glad I had it just kind of sitting off to the side of my desk. All right. trimming. Just like this. All right, we're getting there. Just got a little bit left to go. I will trim this just a tad. I should only have one more strip left. All right. And then one last strip. I know it looks a little messy on the back, but it's actually going to work out very nicely for us. I'm just gonna make sure this fits. All right. All right, there's my husband just getting home now. All right, my fingers are just sticky a little bit. That's okay. Awesome. And then I can just trim this off. We should be good with this. A little cityscape scene with windows. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so let's do a little bit of ink blending. So I do have this little notched die cut for the sky, and I just kind of want to go in with some Salty Ocean Distressing. Just kind of distress it, get a nice little blend going. Just like this. All right. Perfect. And all right, so I've got that. This is gonna kind of go down like this. I wanted to add a little bit of sparkle to the sky. So I am gonna grab my splatter box, which is an old Kindred Stamps kit box that I don't ever want to part with. It'll be a sad day if I ever have to. And I am going to put this panel in there. And I have some Deep End Solar Paste. And we're just gonna do a little bit of spraying. And this is gonna add some really fun sparkle and dimension to the sky. So I'm gonna grab just to kind of get it to dry nice and quickly. It's going to add a little bit of dappledness to the sky, but it's also going to provide this really nice pearlescent shimmer. So that's going to work really nicely for us as well. So I'm going to take this off to the side, and now we can kind of start putting our different elements together. So I'm going to go in, just kind of add some glue. Like this, and then we can kind of put this in the center of our pattern paper the best that we can. And I might need to add a little bit of pressure. Let's see, a little bit of this. I should have gotten a bigger acrylic block, but this will work for now. And then just kind of adding some liquid adhesive. didn't really want to use something other than my glue press, but this works. Okay, perfect. And then we'll go in, we'll add this to the bottom edge of our panel, just like that. Make sure that it matches up very nicely, and it does. Awesome. Making sure it's all nice and level. I think we're just about there. Let me grab, kind of map this out. I'm gonna have our hero is gonna be right there. And then I think I'm gonna have it say boom and pow, just kind of like that. So we'll add this in. Just a couple pieces of foam tape, nothing too crazy. See, I say not too crazy, and then it just ends up being lots of foam tape. All right, there's that. And then just kind of add in for our little comic bursts. Okay, there's one. And then let's grab one more foam tape strip. And just kind of add that in. And I like to add the foam tape to this because I feel like it just adds a nice little pop. So we can start putting everything into place. Just kind of put him out like this. I like that these work really nicely. These little comic bursts really coordinate well with our pattern paper. All right. Just like that, and they've got a nice little bit of shine to them just because of the embossing powder that we had used. And now I just need to do a card base. That's gonna really, let's see if maybe I can try one more time to get my glue press to work. I'm hoping I might. Hoping. No, it just does not want to come out today. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, let's grab a card base. And we'll go in. I guess that this cityscape sort of paper would have worked nicely with this card, but I don't know. I wanted to go another direction. All right, let's get this added to my card base. there you have it. Nice, easy peasy. I like the pop of color too. I agree, Christian. All right, let's just trim this. Let's just right off the edge. Just like that. And there we have it. We've got our little cityscape scene all ready to go with our hero using the Unstoppable Hero stamp set. We use the Unstoppable Hero stamp set. That's what we did with the image and the 2 sentiments. And then for the pattern paper, we use the Vigilante Justice set. And then I did pull in the cityscape die as well, just to add a little bit to the bottom edge of our panel. So here we go, a really fun way that you can use that Unstoppable Hero set. And I'm looking right now and I'm realizing that I have a little bit of foam tape bagging paper that got stuck in my card. So I'm glad I fixed that. But here, we got everything all ready to go. We've got a little bit of a lull until my next live. My next live won't be until the very end of the month. I believe it's Tuesday, September 30th. But I'll be back. We'll have some more crafty fun. I can't wait to see what we make together. But thank you all so very much for stopping by tonight. I appreciate all of you. I know it was kind of a chill Wednesday night, which we always love. Thank you so very much, and I will look forward to seeing you guys later on this month. Have a great day.